Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of South Star Classroom. Miss Jubilee is hosting today. She's having some technical issues, but she'll be right back. But in the meantime, they always leave the two immature cats alone to play. So with that said, brother, how you doing, man?
Dude, man, we got war in Iran. We got Israel acting a mess. We got people trying to distract from the Epstein files. What else we got, man? We got teacher deficits. And then we got St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. If you don't know, today celebrates the day that a gentleman rid Ireland of all of its snakes.
Is that
the patron saint?
I know that.
That is what St. Patrick's Day is all about. See, with the Irish immigration in the 1800s, the Irish needed something to celebrate, given the fact that they were running away from a massive potato famine, living in a disorientated world, being treated rather poorly here, and thus the birth, ladies and gentlemen, of St. Patrick's Day in the United States. Now, if our descendants could see this, I'd love to know what skip, scap, scallywap shit is going on in Chicago. Because, brother, I think you have the largest St. Patrick's Day celebration in the world.
We do.
In the world.
It's pretty big. And it snowed. So I don't know if they did the river thing. They normally green. And in honor of St. Patrick's Day, let me go ahead and make a change there. So, okay.
Oh, dang.
Do that. I will be festive. I never use this color, but I'll use it for today. But no, man,
today.
Things are going well. I watched the Oscars. I've been doing a lot of coverage of the Oscars. It was interesting. Congrats to Michael B. Jordan. Congrats to Ryan Coogler. One battle did win a lot. It definitely won a bunch. But I'm glad Coogler got what he got. And it was all good, man. I have no complaints there. It's St. Patrick's Day, David. So my background is green. Oh, you got the green on? No pinching you, huh? No pinching you.
I'm ready.
But I was just telling Omar, I really did want to go downtown to Chicago and see the I've actually never gone for when the river, the whole river walk is green. I want to do that, but it snowed yesterday and earlier today. So I don't know if they still did it. So I'll have to find out. If they did dye it, it'll be dyed for a few days. So there's at least that. But I didn't know it was the biggest one in the world. I think it was around St. Patty's Day when we hung out in the city. I don't know. Was it around?
I don't think there's it was.
Okay.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day is largely celebrated in the United States, more like Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
And there's a huge one in Savannah, but I could tell you 1,000% without trepidations, the largest celebration in the Western world, if not the entire world. I think that they outdo anything going on in Ireland. I'd say, people will say New York is huge, but I don't know if New York's kept up with Chicago. I don't think so.
Or how about this? Now that our gracious matriarch is back. Beautiful hair, by the way. Me and Omar were telling her that she looked great, and then she just left us. She had to leave the screen. But she comes back. I will say, Omar, next year, St. Patty's Day, Chicago. Let's do it.
I'll be there.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
We'll go see the dyed river together. Anybody else here is welcome. But when Omar came out and I wasn't able to fully hang out, we hung out a little bit at an Irish pub around this time. So we'll have to just do it the right way next time.
Indeed, man. We'll do it right.
How you doing?
Duke is gone.
I know, right? How you doing, David?
I'm good, man. We're having the opposite problem here. We definitely do not have snow. It's peaking out today at a nice 96 degrees here in
96
California.
In San Diego?
Yeah, right there.
Holy shit. Why is it so hot in San Diego?
It's we've got some kind of big heat wave happening on the West Coast, and so it's going to be warm for the next couple weeks. It's been warm, and so it is what it is. But yeah, things are good. We started the what do you call it? The spring season of indoor band competitions. So this is like the competitive circuit of indoor kind of orchestra band stuff. So we're on the road every weekend. We were up in LA last weekend. Next weekend we're going to be up in Inland Empire. So lots of driving for the kiddos, but they love it, man. I mean, they love it. I went to a performance yesterday, a music festival here locally. So any kid that was in the festival got to miss school, which was good. They had it at a local community college in a very beautiful theater, and about 15 schools participating. And kids are like learning how to play music, learning how to read music, learning how to be part of an orchestra, of an ensemble. It feels like it's one of the last things that we're kind of clutching onto when it comes to like young people, that this like connected to like our lineage as human beings. It's like one of the last like human things, right? And so I'm down to like continuously like support that and support the music programs, and the kids are generally pretty well behaved. It's a good social group, and it's like when they're doing music for hours and hours a week, they're not on their phones, so they're like talking with each other, engaging with one another. So I'll always support that. So yeah, there you go.
Did you catch the Oscars?
I love this.
I did not catch the Oscars. Yeah.
Okay. Oscars was interesting. It was good.
So
I cut off. Oh, go ahead. Oh,
no, man. I was just going to ask a couple things. One, I thought you were going to say that you were on the road with the Dead. You're talking about school bands. So just want to make sure that we clarify that all together.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, very, very good. B, I am kind of curious if we could maybe do a tiny stint. I know we got a very big subject today, but what was so interesting about the Oscars? I thought Sinners was going to take the whole rap and caboodle. I like one. What was it? One battle after the next.
Mm-hmm. One battle after
movie. Yeah, one battle after another. Filmed in El Paso, by the way.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So we got to root that on. But what made it so interesting, just from a political standpoint or any standpoint?
Yeah, we got time. Technology is whooping Jubilee's ass right now, so it's okay. We got great time.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was.
I know. We do this. Everybody in the back. This means stretch. Nah, man. I thought it was. So I was prepared for Sinners to get swept. It just was setting up in that way early on. But
to get swept or to sweep. I thought they were going to sweep.
I was expecting it was going to get swept, and it didn't fully get swept. But they had historically the most nominations of all time, which also they now have the most losses in the night of all time. But they came home with really, really big awards, and cinematography going to the first woman ever. I think that sister did a great job. Coogler did not get director of the year, but he's young. He's kind of new. They kind of gave him the Tarantino treatment of, we won't give you director of the year just yet, but we'll give you original screenplay, which is a big, big honor. But the upset of the night is absolutely Michael B. Jordan winning best male actor. And he gave, the way that everybody was cheering for him and rooting for him was like, it was great. And he gave a great speech. You had it, Jubilee. It was fine. You got it. And then just, there you go. There you go. Leave it there. Make the people go just don't touch it. Leave it there. You got it. Now unmute yourself. Now the thing is, you gotta mute yourself. Don't knock the phone over.
Hey.
Now look, don't steal your phone, Jube. You see the magic right there? It's all good.
I couldn't find that stupid little button. I just earned a third master's degree. I promise you.
It's okay. We all age, Jubilee. You know what I'm saying?
We do. I have an iPhone Air. I just couldn't find a damn button.
That phone was kicking her ass. When we all introduced and talked, how are you doing, Jubilee?
I'm doing great. So a couple of things have happened. Daylight savings has happened. We have sprung ahead 1 hour. So I don't have any complaints. Probably not until November. honestly, when we go back to the sun going down at 12 p.m. Um, I had to have a conversation with my son about exiting situations that involve irrational adults. And I just found out that a security officer that serves somewhere in our county actually brandished a weapon
Oh wow.
to intimidate this group of black teens. For whatever reason, they were in the library. He didn't like how they behaved, and he didn't like the way my son responded and the other kids responded. So when he left off of his shift, well, before he left, he said, "I'll see you after my shift." And he, as the adult, decided that he would brandish a weapon. So it's
So
being
that's
dealt with.
that ain't legal, by the way. Not even in
It's
Texas.
it's not. It's not. It's
It
Yeah.
ain't
not.
legal, but it's reality. So you get up
It's
out
Yeah.
of there.
right.
Right.
So I
I
had to
came from
have
the
this
era of they
conversation.
going to the trunk. They going to the oh, he said the trunk. It's time to go.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And this is an employee, right? So it's a little crazy. But nonetheless, I am okay. I'm just dealing with the ebbs and flows, but all is well, and I'm excited to be with y'all today. So let's do it.
Love it. Well, we kind of in it now. So you got the
All
topic
right.
today. It's a
Let's
great
do it.
topic, but I will play the role of everyday man. So I know
All
nothing.
right.
What are we
All
talking
right.
about?
So we're talking about teacher preparation. So we know it's existed for nearly 2 centuries. Uh, Teachers entering today's classrooms are Gen Z, and the babies that are not so babies are Generation Alpha. And so I kind of wanted to use that as the grounding for our conversation, like our teacher preparation programs delivering what our teachers need and what our students need. So schools face challenges. We know this: poverty, trauma, systemic barriers, learning loss. So today we're going to explore what teacher prep has looked like historically, where gaps exist, and how students can be supported both inside and outside of schools. Couple of facts: nearly half of new teachers, of all new teachers, leave the profession within the first 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
What does that say about how we prepare educators? And that's about 44% as documented by the National Center for Education Statistics. Okay. Um, Gen Z teachers, right, are born 1997 to 2012. They are the ones that are mostly entering classrooms now. Generation Alpha, born between 2010 and 2024, they are already in K-12 classrooms. I shared with you the teacher attrition stat: 44% leaving within the first 5 years.
Mhm.
Student poverty, because I thought about, well, who are we serving? We talk about public education. We're serving a population where over 50% qualify for free reduced lunch, and many experience systemic barriers, whether that's in urban communities, rural communities. And that also includes um, non-minority populations as well. They're also in that number. Uh, Now 85% of classrooms now have access to digital devices, but teachers report gaps in tech training during prep. And then lastly, recent studies show that pandemic era learning loss disproportionately affects low income students and multilingual learners, which we also knew. So before I ask the first question, I just wanted to share a quick snapshot of teacher preparation today for bachelor's and master's program in education. All right, so right now, as it stands, and really over the history that teacher preparation programs have existed, the courses have been in educational theory, psychology, human development, sociology of education, courses like instructional methods in literacy, math, science, small course, maybe one on classroom management, assessment strategies, maybe one course on special education and culturally responsive teaching. That's a reach, I think, for culturally responsive teaching. This is maybe if you went to a school that understood the importance of that within the past 10 to 20 years. There's a student practicum, student teaching. Usually that's one semester. So 12 to 16 weeks would be the only time that student teachers actually get to teach prior to going into the classroom with their first class. So with all of that as the backdrop, okay, when you think about what educators actually face in classrooms today, what do you believe teacher preparation programs should spend more time on? And do you think students' needs today are really different from what students needed 20 to 30 years ago? I'm going to throw it to David.
Ooh, all right. Yeah, I think
Take that.
I'll take the second question first. I would say absolutely. I mean, what we're seeing right now is I just saw a report about kindergarten teachers that were polled nationally. Even kindergarten teachers, not necessarily reporting like higher incidents of like discipline issues, which we are seeing in elementary grades, but we're looking at a significant rise in the percentage of kindergarten teachers that are reporting that incoming kindergarten students over the past 1 to 2 years have a much greater need in support in using the restroom, right? So that's just like a real thing that is coming into classrooms, right? Not even talking about the instructional part. I'm just talking about the practical nature of teaching and how, as things happen in society and in our world, like the pandemic and the shutdown, just because we reopen schools 2 or 3 years later doesn't mean that those issues go away, right? We had millions of children that were at home, that were not able to exist in social settings to develop their social skills, and they're back in school, and teachers are having to deal with that at multiple different grade levels. So I think it's not like 10 years ago. I think it's like 3 years ago, the world has changed. And then, I mean, the first part, without getting too deep into it, I was trying to look up my transcripts for my teaching program. I couldn't, but I can tell you it was probably about 80% theory, pedagogy. I think we read, Paulo Freire, whatever, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, like backwards, forwards, upside down, inside out.
It became the Bible.
Yeah, yeah. They made us do an interpretive dance based on that book to graduate from the program. Joke, but not really a joke. It was all like, I mean, it was kind of cool because I came into teaching as a social science, undergrad. So I really kind of found the social kind of and racial dynamics of what we were learning interesting. But when it came time for that first student teaching assignment that I had in San Francisco in 2001 at Mission High School, which was a complete shit show. Think about like The Wire, right? None of that mattered. None of that mattered. Literally thrown to the sharks. And I was like, yeah, they missed the mark. So I think we have to move. I think some like theoretical, like foundational stuff is important, but it's got to be more balanced. We need more practical, teaching, the teaching of more practical, practices, right? Because all the theory stuff, you literally, once the rubber hits the road, it all goes out the door,
Absolutely. I was gonna say, and Omar, I'm not discluding you, but I was gonna call this the Jube and David episode. And it's funny, and the reason I say that is like I've known David a long time, learning everybody else here. This is one of the most passionate things that David's ever been. David has had a passion about these teacher education programs in these universities. I just respect. Yeah. That was a very measured answer there, David. I was ready for you to have an Omar rant, and I hope we get it.
It's early.
Go ahead.
It
go
is
ahead,
early.
Go ahead. Oh, it's early. I got you. I didn't hear you. I was gonna say shout out to Toya in the chat. Whoever is at LinkedIn, listen, it ain't us. There's something going on with StreamYard, but LinkedIn user, thank you for checking in. And Bailey Candace, thank you so much. And ironically, I think I met Bailey in the context of what we're talking to today. I used to support the training and development of educators, and and I know she's gone on to she's had an incredible career. I don't think I was very helpful to anybody, but I would just say honestly, when you ask this question, what you think what they face today? I mean, what should they spend more time on? I think that they have to spend more time on the basics of actually teaching and managing your classroom and understanding your content. I think there's a lot of accoutrement around it. I think there's a lot of frills and new terms and new theories. And I just think before you start getting onto complicated theories, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had a remarkable session. Once you start getting to these theories, it's a lot for a young, new educator to process before I think that they're ready. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I'm not talking about anybody's intelligence or somebody's not smart enough, but it's just skipping some steps to have it in that moment, right? Like if you're doing construction, you need somebody to know how to to slab out brick before you start talking about fancy designs and building bridges and things like that. You have to learn the basics. And so I'm going to get out the way and just have some commentary, but Omar and David, especially David and Jude, I'm interested because I just know the beef is real there. And I've had to deal with a lot of those missed dealings when they show up into a classroom where all that theory shit is out the window. And now you got to actually be there and do the thing. And most of these people are trying to process this stuff on a higher level, don't realize that they scared of their damn classroom. They're afraid of the school that they in. We got to deal with that stuff first before we start talking about these third and fourth level teaching tasks.
Omar for that.
Omar going through his notes.
Omar is writing a dissertation.
I am. I got so many things here.
Did we piss you off enough? Let's hear it.
Well, as he goes, Jubilee, because I do this to everybody. We do it to you a lot, Ju, because you look better than us. It's fine. Omar, the model, the man, the myth, the legend. Where are you going after this, brother? You look stellar. You look.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much, man. That is classified information as to where I'm put it after.
Oh, you doing the Charles now? Oh, he picked up on your strategy,
you mean the
Charles.
Jubilee where you traveled for Valentine's Day? You're doing the Jubilee.
No way.
Good job.
Getting on a plane.
Just happens to
David, that's all your fault.
From the 12th to the 15th, hey.
Oh my God, y'all gonna stop me from getting dates. I really am single. I'm really waiting for my person to come find me. So you can't have these people thinking I got it, man. I don't. Y'all, I'm single, okay? Put your applications in with David. He'll vet them and then he'll let you know, okay?
Yep.
Omar, the floor is yours, Mr. Devin.
Man, I gotta see what this application looks like and shit, man. I'm excited. I bet you $1,000 it's more difficult than getting into these teacher education programs, man. By by 1,000%. Yep. Yeah, man. Let's see, where were we? Teacher education, sure. What needs to happen and are we different? I'd actually say we're not different than we were 20 years ago. In fact, what I would arguably say is that we went the wrong direction. We thought technology was going to come in and save our asses. And we've done a couple shows where we've demonstrated that actually technology has done more detriment than they have good. So when we talk about getting back to basics, our brains have been wired to read the written word, to write the written word, right? It's cool that we've got a computer. I love it. It's cool that we can read off of the computer. That's great. It's great that we got videos, but just the basic tenets of exercising the brain through reading and writing and arithmetic, right? The 3 R's as we talk about, I don't think is any different than it was 20 years ago. I think that we went in a different direction. I think we went a bit of a wrong direction. And I think that we thought that technology was going to be this panacea that was going to come in and save us. And in fact, what it's done is effed us. And I would actually say it's time to scale that back. As far as teacher ed programs, holy shit, dude, I could literally go on a rant for an hour nonstop. But to just kind of accentuate this point of what would I like to see happen, number one, some data-driven instruction. How about we just what are kids' literacy levels at so that teachers in teacher college can kind of understand hey, that fucking Dead Poet Society moment that you're gonna have, you ain't gonna have it because you think you're gonna get up there and talk and make this moment. Kids have no idea what you're saying because right now the literacy levels are incredibly low, and they have been for quite some time. So having teachers understand what am I actually going up against and how do I use data to understand and make these gains for kids' literacies. So it's not about their moment, it's about the moment for the child and their growth. That I think would be just a good start of what I think should be happening. What high quality instruction and high quality instructional materials look like. Like, dude, look, if you're a 10-year teacher and you are a fan of Frere, which I am, all of us are, like that's, I think, the time and place to be like, cool, like what are the institutional things that we are doing and implementing to ensure that we're creating a more equitable education? But if you're a first-year teacher, you're getting shit thrown at you, or you're hanging out and some kid's like, hey, mister, I'm going to cut you so bad. I wish you hadn't been cut so bad. Like, you may be thinking about different things than the pedagogy of the oppressed. So I'll continue on this, but it's not just a back to basics. It's really about, have we lost our way entirely with the advent of technology?
Yeah, have you ever seen like when Tom Brady or Michael Jordan and they're like breaking down parts of the game, and it's like, and again, and it's like that's a lot for a college quarterback to take, right? It's like you're trying to learn a simple like college system, and then you grow into that, right? Like it's Michael Jordan is gonna struggle talking and teaching like somebody that's younger. That's how I think about this. Freddie is. We all have so much respect for him and what he's done, but he would also be like, but I need you to lesson plan. Like, I need you to know this before we're having this level of conversation. And people like to jump to that, and just not teaching basics is the problem.
Yeah. So I want to throw some more stats out there, and then I'll go to our next question, right? So one of the things I was wondering about was just like, well, how much time do our teachers, or did we all spend, right, in teacher preparation programs, right? And when I did the research and I compared us to countries like Finland, Germany, just international, it's like, wait, we spend more time in front of the classrooms, right, in the profession, and way less time in preparation. So for example, it says as the baseline in the US, anywhere between 450 to 600 hours, so about 12 to 15 weeks as residents, as teacher residents, as student teachers, right? And of course the duration and intensity of the training, they vary significantly. And then you are supposed to earn your bachelor's, cool. In a country like Germany, you got 1.5 to 2 years of paid preparatory service, right? After university, and you got to earn a master's degree and a state exam, right? Country like Finland, 800 plus hours that are integrated throughout a 5-year teacher preparation program.
Wow.
And you've got to get a research-based master's, okay? And then Singapore, 1 year of enhanced school internship with a master teacher, which I think is really key, and you get a bachelor's or a post-grad diploma. So I'm throwing those stats out there before I ask the next question. Any thoughts about those differences?
I mean, you pay for what you want. You get what you pay for, and I think that like you have to. Again, I think there's a lot of similarities with the teaching profession and that of nursing, and whereas they both had to go through some revamping, and where nursing started to win is that they added prestige to their profession, and it's one of the most difficult programs to get in throughout the country, and has been for a while. And so they've professionalized it, and I think usually when the conversations come around professionalizing education, it gets very emotional, as opposed to like, where I think the great teachers would actually benefit from that conversation. But because they don't get paid a lot, I think that society allows a certain level of complaining around the teaching platform, whereas we're not going to listen to doctors and surgeons complain about their profession, even though is crazy and the hours are crazy and 72-hour shifts or whatever, you know, like to the point where we have to have beds in every hospital, right? Like, so you can do your job. So that's what I thought about those stats.
Yeah. And
I think we fund what we value as a society. And so I think, you know, those other countries that you mentioned, you know, they clearly value the teaching profession, and they fund it and they treat it as such. And I'm not saying that we don't like value it here, but we definitely don't fund the you know, and fund and also like establish like guidelines that are research based for like what does it actually look to develop a well-trained educator, right? And it feels like we're kind of going backwards, and like we have these programs that we're trying to fill you know, positions, right? Teachers are there's a teacher shortage. And so what do we try and do? We try and like, I mean, I think even in California, they started like lowering the bar. We're like, well, you don't actually have to pass the CBEST, you know?
Right.
I'm like, what? You know, they're like waiving all these assessments. And so I think we're actually going in the wrong direction. I think, you know, we should, if we really valued it, like we would, you know, start developing, and they have done this in California, like high school level linked learning pathways for educators. So you can actually now in California, you can start a course of study in high school that will eventually lead to a path towards becoming an educator, get early exposure, go to college, continue with that, and then go on and get your license. But I think when I went through my program, I just looked, I literally had one class in a 2-year program where I got to spend with social science credential students and just talking about like the teaching of high school social science. One class out of a 2-year program. I think you touched on the hours in terms of like practicum or student teaching. I think our student teaching system here is very like fragmented. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's all really dependent on what's available in terms of the system, like who's available to take on a student teacher. I think the oversight is definitely like weak. I'll tell you a story. My first assignment as a student teacher, like I said earlier, was at Mission High School in San Francisco. And I think the school is doing better now, but it was literally like one of the craziest school environments I've ever been in. And I was and I was not like a young kid. I had a previous career. So I was going into teaching. I think I was like in my late 20s, right? So I wasn't like a young kid off the block. I'd seen and done some things in my life. But still, nothing prepared me for going in and doing a semester of teaching modern world history to 10th graders that had been so disrespected by their school and their community and their teachers that they just didn't care, right? And I don't blame them for not caring. But my master teacher, who I was assigned to, great person, had a significant life event the week before I was about to start. And she was essentially unavailable. So I didn't even, and I told the principal, I'm like, this is not going to work. I don't have my mentor teacher. She's not available. I told my school program, they're like, oh, we just got to go with the plan. You'll do fine. And I'm like, okay, that's how, and I was alone. I was literally alone. And it was really hard. Fortunately, I went into teaching, with a vision and a clear mission to become a teacher, become an administrator, right? I wanted to do the long work. But for many young aspirational people that go into the field, when you go in and you have a very negative, traumatizing experience,
yeah,
that's why we get the quick turnaround. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you're gone. It's like anything else. It's like your orientation to any kind of experience. If your orientation is bad and negative, like that's going to stay with you, right? Even if you do stay in the field. So I think just we need to rethink what practicum and student teaching support looks like.
I agree.
I wonder sometimes if it's just like, dude, the crisis feeds the problem. Meaning, like, is this a chicken or the egg scenario? Meaning, like, there's a crisis of shortage. There's a crisis of people wanting to get in the fields. There's so many kids in the United States, right? So, like, I always try to look at, like, yeah, dude, I love looking at Germany and Finland and Scandinavia. Germany's population is the same as Texas, right? Finland's population is dwarfed to that of California. So I want to kind of think about, yeah, dude, I love those models and I wish we were doing those, to be honest with you, because I think that there's so much to say. You're right about the prestige of the job and the payment of the job, which I've always been a huge advocate of increasing. The other thing is like, well, are we just turning these people out because it's like, we just need someone in that classroom? So turn and burn, get in there, get out. Good luck to you. You'll figure it out. Let's get you a mentor teacher. Let's get you, whatever it may be. And cool. But I honestly think that the universities and teacher education programs really need to revamp that, because, like, dude, I'd be the first to go into those programs and be like, dude, what are you guys doing? Like, this is all just not just theoretical nonsense, but you're sitting here in a university with your theoretical shit that you've been expounding for 100 years, haven't changed shit, doesn't meet the circumstances. And what you're doing is actually a ludicrous disservice to society. Because yes, they're getting in there, getting traumatized, leaving, right?
Yep.
And then what can we expect except the cycle continues? So then they're leaving so quickly, it creates that dearth. So they're just pushing people in there and not figuring out, hey man, maybe this should be a more advanced residency. Maybe there should be greater pay for this. And I got to tell you, man, like, it's also just tough. Who the hell wants to go into education?
Yeah.
Ain't no one want to be a superintendent right now. Ain't no one want to be a teacher right now. And I mean, like, it bugs me, because I think that we have to not only look at the teacher education program, but root causes of cultural components of, like, dude, it's hard to be like, hey man, you should get into a classroom with 30 kids who you have to work tirelessly to earn the respect of, and do a shitload of data crunching and teacher planning, versus like, hey, go influence and wear this shit on TikTok and and then creepy dudes are gonna follow you and you're gonna make some money.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it opens up a fascinating can of worms.
I think Jude was introduced. This was supposed to be the introduction to her second question. I think it just became.
Yes, I was like muting because I didn't want to interrupt. But no, this is interesting because it just makes me think that colleges or teacher prep programs are literally passing on debt, like perpetual debt that they never have to pay, because you can't go back and be like, hey, I don't know how to do data-driven instruction. I don't know how to do classroom management. Like, give me back my money. It's like, yeah, we're going to take all your money, but we're not promising that you'll be able to walk into a classroom as a first-year teacher and get results. And that's the whole point of going to school. And again, when we look at other professions, right, just like what Charles was saying earlier, that's not acceptable, right? Whether it's a profession that is like widely respected, like going into the medical field, or whether it's widely respected but not in the social sector, like being a basketball player. Like, if you went to camp or training or school, or you had a master teacher or whatever it is, when you get out there to do your thing, whatever that thing is, we want to see some daggone results, right? And so back to your point, David, it's like, yeah, this is a debt that that teacher prep programs never really have to pay. They produce what they produce, and that's that. And that debt is passed on to the schools that the teachers show up in, because when they don't have the skill set, which we know they often don't, now that's on the school principal, now that's on the school district to try to teach you how to do a lesson plan, because you spent 4 years in undergrad and still don't know how to put one together. You still don't know how to build a relationship with kids. Like, come on. And then I think in terms of risk, like, folks look at it and it's like, yeah, we can afford, to have kids that don't read or who don't finish school. Like, yeah, we can afford that in this nation. I mean, that's what it says, whether or not that was the intent or not. So
Do you want us to? I mean, we're having a great conversation. You want us to keep going, or you want us to let you do your joint?
go. No.
Oh, 'cause
I
it's
just
good.
had to get that off my chest. Go for it. Go.
No,
go.
I just know you had questions, but I think the conversation is just a great one. And if you ever need to stop us, just stop us. It's your show. You get to direct it how you want. I would just say though, like, again, we got to have a real conversation about professionalism, and adults. And this is one of the other issues. Scarcity is an issue, and it's the opposite of education. How many people working in education fail into education? Like, it's so many. It's like a secondary fall off, knockoff, or you're a stay-at-home wife and you want to get out the house, so you go do education, or you didn't get your dream thing, so you go teach and you do this. You're not falling into being a surgeon. You're not
in the United States, right?
You're not falling into being a lawyer. You're not falling into being an RN. You're not falling into those. You're not falling into NASA, right? Like the careers that people respect, that in that way. And I think people say they respect teachers, but I think teachers and their pay would argue that that's not the case. And at the same time, no, I think there's been a societal agreement. Whereas we do allow teachers to complain about their pay. We do allow teachers to like not have to get the same type of judgment that some of these. Listen, you fuck up in a surgery, you have to have insurance. Like, the hospital will be with you to a certain point, and then after that, they're like, "Oh, this is malpractice." And so, like, if you want to have the career get to where it should be, where we all think it should be, you have to know that other things are going to come with that, right? Like, there's going to be more scarcity. There's going to be situations where you can be the best in your class, the best at this thing, and still not make it. There are people that have done 6-7 years of med school and residencies, and guess what? Sometimes they still don't make it. You can be a top 50 point guard in the world, and guess what? Sometimes you don't make it. Whereas in education, unless you got some messed up stuff on your record, or you do something that kind of gets you on the outskirts of it, schools tend to need teachers. You know what I mean? When I worked at the district, you know how many emergency credentials we had to do, what David was alluding to? How many times they didn't pass this test, they didn't pass that test. Well, we got a shortage, so we got to do this. When that's the reality of your profession, there isn't a need to raise these things, because we'll just go get another one. And since we don't care about black kids and poor kids and brown kids and whatever being able to read and not being able to read, we're never going to change that standard. We just don't talk about it because we're allowed to.
Yeah. I think there was I don't know if y'all remember, it was a while ago, maybe even like 20 years ago. A lot of charter schools started looking at, this is like, at least in California, when the charter movement started, charter schools were old enough to, like, now we're graduating kids and setting them off into the world, right? And, at that time, the focus was like college. It was like college for all. It was like the KIPP model. It was like the Aspires, I'll say the Unities, right? And so we started looking at a certain point in time, started using a database called the National Publishers Clearinghouse, I think, to actually track, as a school or a school system, that says that you got 80% of your kids into college. Now we can start to track, how long are they persisting in college?
Yeah.
Are they graduating in 4 years, in 5 years? Are they dropping out? Right. So looking at some of those postgraduate outcomes. Yeah. And so I think, we learned a lot. We learned that we were probably spending too much time on the academic side and not enough time on the acculturation side for kids that are growing up in low income neighborhoods and going off to Stanford or wherever they were going to. Right. So I'm thinking about there's a ranking system for colleges of education, but they don't really have any measures to determine how well they're doing based on the success of their graduates in the actual field, which I think is really interesting. They have report cards, and they can look at like standards of excellence and teaching and methodologies and stuff, but graduation rates. But like, if I go to Stanford, or if I go to San Francisco State, or if I go to BYU or Miami University, how can I tell what, where am I going to have the greatest success, in terms of a teaching career, in terms of like longevity, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be something that would be very interesting to start to measure. Because otherwise it's like a cash cow, right? They're just bringing people in, bringing them out, bringing people in, bringing them out, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Omar, did you want to add something?
No, I just thought that was kind of an astute observation. It'd be cool to see what the trajectory is of where teachers from certain teacher education programs actually, have impact on kids. It'd be quite interesting, actually. I also think that you brought up something very relevant. The overwhelming majority of students in New York, Texas, California, low-income kids. I don't know if there's anything within the teacher education programs that focus exclusively on what needs to be done for students of low-income means, the incredible deficits that they come into schools with already, how to make up for said deficits. Because look, dude, like I always, again, this is broken record shit, but when I meet with teachers at the beginning of every single year, and I try to make it a point to do it every year, it's just a reminder. I'm like, look, dude, at least in this region, only 16% of kids are going to graduate from college. So let me get 100 of you teachers together, and I'm going to put 16 of you right in the center of this auditorium, and I'm going to put the 84 of you over in the corner.
Come on.
And I'm going to talk how amazing these 16 teachers are and how great they are, and essentially say the 84 of you, fucking good luck.
Yep.
Like good fucking luck. Because I want those teachers to understand you are part of this tiny, infinitesimally small group of kids that this system worked for. So it ain't working for the 84%. So why are we doing the same shit over and over and over again? Same conversation I have with parents, which is like, dude, so you're sending your kid to the same school. Yeah, it's the school I went to. Yeah, how was high school? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I remember lunch and we got drunk a lot. Cool, did you learn anything? What? Fuck no, I didn't learn shit. I was like, so why are you sending your kid to the same school and expecting different results? Oh, fuck. And it's like, why are we sending all these kids to these teacher education programs and expecting different results? And it's why Relay started, is why a bunch of these other education programs started. But it's like, shit, man, maybe South Star Classroom should start its own teacher education program, man. Damn.
Well, the
We're onto
funny thing
something
is,
here.
I had a very strong set of cohorts that I led, and I never went to traditional teaching stuff. Remember, my original career is social work. That's what I'm classically trained in. And shout out to Bailey, who's in the chat. Like I said, I haven't seen Bailey in years, but Bailey was a part of one of my trainings and she enjoyed it. And some of my teachers, when I was working at TFA, had some of the strongest growth in the country. And I leaned a lot into those social work practices. And I knew that we had, experts in math and reading at TFA. So I would let them do what they did. Like, y'all are great at that. Y'all do that. I'm not going to try to teach you that. But this piece around community and being in your community and knowing what your role is and your duty to like study and go beyond, it played very well. Listen, man, as we talk about this stuff though, like, do we want to have this career professionalized or not? And I don't think a lot of people do. I think they say it, they do, but I don't know if they want what comes through it. For instance, would you still want to be a teacher if you had to get recertified every 5 years? Would you still want to be a teacher if like you could be sued for malpractice? Would you still want to be a teacher? Like, we'll pay you triple. If we get into like 150 grand, you know what I'm
do
saying?
it for the
Like,
money.
hey, that's cool. Do you want to be able to should you be doing residencies anytime you want to teach a different subject? Because that's what has to happen when you're a doctor. You have to
Yeah.
do all that stuff. You got to write at the same time. Oh, you want to do head trauma? Well, you have to go apply for the head trauma residency, and you got to be a student again for another 1 or 2
Fair
years.
enough.
And you want to do feet? Well, that's fine. You got to go here and you got to be a student for 2 more years. And like what we do in education is you're the basketball coach. We don't have a science teacher. You don't know anything about science. So go be the science teacher, which I've had
Give it
before.
up.
Which
Well, I
I've
understand.
had
And
before, right?
next year you're going to be the principal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. You might just be the principal next year.
So I mean,
And then
No.
maybe in 5 years you're going to be the superintendent.
maybe, you know,
This is
maybe.
possible.
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right? And like, how serious do we want to be about the conversation? That's the point
Indeed.
that I'm making. You know, so
Indeed.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I totally agree, and my brain went back to theory and practice, right, in schools, because I read you kind of all the different coursework that's in there, and it's like we know that there is a purpose for school, right? We know you get discipline and you write papers and all of that. But when I think back to my own experience and where I learned to be a strong teacher and be a strong leader, it is where theory and practice met immediately, right? Like there was no delay, right? So anyway, I'll pause there because I have an offering, but I'll share it because now we're in the last 10 minutes. So this is
Yeah.
my question. This is my question.
Answer the question in the
we
last 8
are-
minutes. Go ahead, girl. Do your thing.
We are hypothetically, I'm not even going to ask anymore. I'm changing
Go
gears.
ahead. Go ahead.
We are forming our own school of education. Okay.
Mhm.
With
We are.
all that we've discussed today, yeah, we are hypothetically.
We
right?
should.
Today,
Shit.
what 2 courses are you offering? You're like, these teachers cannot graduate and go in front of kids if they don't master these 2 things. What would they be? What would they be? What 2 courses, right? I got 2, Omar's got 2, Charles got 2, David's got 2, and that's the course.
I'll get out the way for the real educators, okay? I don't consider
Yep.
myself on the level of you.
I actually consider yourself a real educator.
You
but I'll
definitely
jump-
are.
I appreciate
You
that, but,
definitely are.
no, but listen to what I'm saying, all right? Like again,
Uh,
somebody can do CPR in the middle of the thing. They're not a surgeon. Like an EMT is great, and they get you to the doctor. So what I'm saying is, I'm trying to add respect to the profession. And what I would say is the first thing, I don't know if this is necessarily teaching Jubilee, but the first checkbox is they have to be a master of what it is that they're teaching. Like they have to. Like it has to be
Okay.
a Jedi Padawan situation. I'm sorry. Like you have to be able to demonstrate that. And I think the other thing, and I lean on these social work principles, and she talked about classroom management. I think it's some form of that. It's something that's like if this was sports, it would be somewhat of being a read and react player. What does that mean? There are
Yeah.
some teams that have a play that you run, and you just run the play through completion, and that's what you do. Read and react is a play where it's like I'm making moves situationally around what's in front of me, but I'm confident in making the best decision. And there's a way that we can prove that you can do that. So it would be those 2 things, an actual passion and skill set, and you're teaching only what you know, and like your ability to manage your classroom in a read and react way to kind of read where you need to go and what you need to do. And you have the agency where your principal might not give it to you, your teacher, coach, your school didn't, but you have a duty and you know that you got to go research and do these things on your own because your physician has a ton of journals behind them. Your lawyer has every law book and case law. You should be an independent learner that never stops
Yeah.
learning if you want your
I feel
career
you.
to be on the same tier as those people. Because a lawyer or a surgeon can't say, I didn't learn that. I didn't get that.
Mhm.
I don't have that. They consult, they get somebody in there, and then they get to a place and they're responsible with their craft, because if they go out and act out the role irresponsibly, they are held liable. And I think that's the major difference.
Love that.
I
I'm
would
gonna go to
say,
Charles School. Go ahead, David.
I would offer a couple classes. I would say for sure, like the all grades, all the way through the science of reading and the science of math. Right, like those are like 2 like through lines for me. So making sure that regardless of you're going to teach, it doesn't matter what subject you're going to teach. you have a strong foundation and fundamental in those two core subjects. Number one. Number two, I would say call it tier 3 for all, right? So looking at tier 3, which are like kind of the more call them not extreme, but like more intense interventions for students on the behavior side, on the academic side, thinking about things like special education. So tier 3 for all, like how do tier 3 practices, how can they and should be applied for all learners, right? And then I would offer another course around, it would be titled, It's Not About You, It's About Community. And this class is all about authentic and genuine and respectful community parent engagement, understanding the real power between the connection between the classroom and the community and the home, right? Not in a patronizing way, not in a way that feels fearful or scary, but in a way that where educators walk into that space knowing that parent engagement is a non-negotiable.
I'm
I
going
like
to day
this.
school too. Yeah, go ahead, Omar.
So
It's like a 10-year program.
Yeah.
let me.
Oh no, you gonna make me drop out.
Teachers ain't great until like their third year, anyways, dude. Like, I mean, I don't even like, until maybe even after their third year do they pick up their stride. I'm like, shit, man. If you're gonna do this shit, right? I'd say I double what you said on literacy. How do kids learn how to read? And how does every teacher become a literacy teacher? Because I'm with Doc. Like, you better know your social studies, you better know your math, you better be an expert in your subject. But I think every single one of these people should also be a massive expert in literacy. I think there needs to be a course, a neurological course, a psychological course. It could be a quarter long, it could be whatever it is, on a couple of principles. One, how do people learn? Fucking, you're sitting or talking in people's asses. People don't learn that way. There are fundamentals of how they learn. Two, relationship building. How do you develop intrinsic relationships with kids and with parents so that they give a shit about what you teach, because that matters. Three, communication. There was a whole course at the Kennedy School called The Art of Communication. Fucking badass course. And you don't realize until you get into it, the way that you communicate may not actually make any sense to anybody. Your words, your tone, your language, your demeanor, like, you have to do very thorough thought into how you're communicating and whether or not that audience is being receptive to it or not, picking up on it or not, so on and so forth. Or I'd say your own psychology. Like, man, you got to fix the fucking teacher to help work with the kids. Like, how many teachers have actually done the difficult and integral work of being like, how do I get past my own biases, my own dilemmas, my own childhood traumas, my own issues? Because I have to be so good that I can be great for a group of kids who need me desperately. If I'm sitting here worried about myself, how am I going to worry about these 150 kids? So I would do a deep dive, and that could be one course, year long, those 4 things broken up into quarters. Bam. Shit. I'm glad we got this on video, man. I can make that course tomorrow. We should be teaching that shit.
And David has
make
that
that
course. So if you want to say bye or anything, yeah. All right, brother. Have a good one,
All right,
David.
David. All right,
In this transition, I know we're going to final thoughts, Jube, and you got your comment. I just wanted to just say for those,
why I can't hear you? Hold on.
I don't know. You touched something. You can hear me, right, Omar?
Hold on.
Yes.
Yes. Technology
Can you
is
hear me?
kicking her ass. We can hear you just
We
fine.
can hear you.
No?
Yep.
I can't hear you, Charles.
Yeah. I don't know. You muted me.
Can you
I
hear
would just
Charles
say though,
Omar?
just let me.
I can
finish.
hear you both, man. I feel good.
Why I can't hear you, Charles?
Oh my God! Stop being an old lady right now. So.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I can hear you now.
Good
I don't know
Lord.
what the hell's going on?
So as I was saying, that was the
Now
oldest
I
thing
can't
you've
hear
ever
him.
done in your life, Jubilee. So we have the event tomorrow. We have the Agentic Institute presents
Yes,
the
yes,
we have our
yes.
and it's
You're
sold
gonna
out.
have to
So
translate Omar because I can't hear him.
I've released 100 tickets. There's 100 tickets and more tickets out there that we have over 350 people RSVP'd already. If you haven't yet, please do that now. We want to see you there. The first this talk with Dr. Fuller, this fireside chat and watching the movie will be all inside of that platform. So it's not streaming to a bunch of places. We'll all be inside of StreamYard so we can know who's there and have a good conversation. So with that being said, just wanted to say thank you to everybody that registered. The QR code is up there right above Omar's head. So click that. And yes, if Jubilee can hear me, she can go into final thoughts. She can't do it. It's okay. It's all good. Jubilee is struggling over there. It's
I
okay. We're
cannot
gonna
hear.
roll the final thoughts.
I
We
can
can hear
only
you.
hear. Oh my God.
We're
It
gonna do
says my
final thoughts
browser
here.
has a. All right, great. I still can't hear Charles. I don't know.
It's
all
all right,
good.
man. Hit them final thoughts.
All right, listen. I'm just giving back what everybody said, and I'll add mine. All right, so we have Master of Craft, Management, Read and React, Instincts, Agency, Never Stop Learning, Ownership. David, we got all grades, science of reading, science of math, strong foundations, tier 3 for all practices, for all learners and special pops. It's not about you, it's about community. Parent engagement is a non-negotiable. Uh, who's, oh, uh, Omar said literacy and math, a strong foundation in each of those. Psychological course, how do people learn? Learning theory, relationship building, intrinsic relationships with kids and parents are important. Art of communication, and then working through your own stuff like childhood trauma, biases, etc. What I will add, right? Soon as you get into my program, you going in the front of the classroom. You're going to be in front of the classroom for 4 years. 4 years. That's how long your student teacher is going to be. 4 years long. However long the program is, that's how long your program is going to be. And I think just in terms of like trial and error, theory and practice, learning it in the classroom and then being able to go into a classroom and apply it, right? I think that would strengthen, right? Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 instruction, right? How many teachers I've seen still to this day struggle with teaching a basic lesson with a beginning, a middle, an end, and some sort of check for understanding. It's right, it's still something that's a huge deficit. And then pick a specialty. Maybe you spend 2 years on reading, you spend 2 years on math, or 2 years on social studies, 2 years on whatever it is, but spend a long amount of time just going deep in whatever that discipline is so you can begin mastery. And then lastly, to your point, Omar, the implicit biases, we all have them. And if we don't engage in that sort of work, then we're not going to be forwarding equitable work, right? And so I think that is super important to ensure that we're serving all of the children that are placed in front of us from all walks of life. So I can't hear nobody, but I can see y'all. Y'all look great. This is Southstar Classroom. I'm Jubilee. That's Omar. That's Charles. Tune in next week, same time, same place. We love y'all. Peace.
Peace.